Okay, everyone, welcome to today's Lunch and Learn. I'm really excited to introduce you to Leki. So, Leki is going to be talking to you about how to build your personal brand with particular reference to videography. Now, the brilliant thing about Leki is I have first-hand knowledge of how incredible his video content is. He's been an absolute superstar for me in a few of my businesses, as well as previous businesses that I've been involved in. So, handing over to you, Leki. Best of luck.
Thanks very much, Beck. Hello, everybody. Just gonna spend a second here sharing my screen. Hopefully that's the right one. There we go. Okay, hello, and today I'm just going to be speaking to you all about how to accelerate your personal brand with video. So there's a few things to talk about, but hopefully this is all quite, easy to take on. There's a lot of information, but the main thing I hope you take away is a lot of it is suggested, as a good place to start, essentially. So don't overwhelm yourself thinking we need to do absolutely everything that Lecky says. So a bit about me. I run a boutique video agency. We specialize in video case studies. We do a lot of live events. And we also do a lot of like social video for businesses as well, alongside Heathrow Legal Costs and Queensbury Financial Advisors. Some of our clients include Quorn. And yesterday I did a video case study for Shelter, which was really exciting, covering one of their projects that they're running in Manchester at the moment. So let's think about why video is a really effective format right now when it comes to personal brands. If we think about the internet in general, how many of us watch videos online in our day-to-day, either on socials or on websites? It's a astounding 94% of people. In some form or other, in the last 30 days, 94% of people say that they've watched it. Um, Alongside this, how do we think our followers would watch a short form video if you made one? When surveyed, 63% of consumers prefer to learn about products or services by watching short form video. So this is a very business centric stat, but what I'd like you to take away from it is consumers in general like to watch video. So people on socials, if you think about your own social video habits or your social media habits, even when you're scrolling, how often do you stop to watch video content versus how often do you stop to watch to read a regular post or look at some images? I think it's a growing audience there. So, looking now specifically at social media, what does that look like in 2026? This shocked me when I learned about it. This has come from an Ofcom report in 2026, which was it was published a couple of months ago. Only 49% of adult social media users post or comment, which is just absolutely incredible. People are sort of starting to go back into their shells a little bit with social media. They're just consuming content more than they're actually putting it out there. Now, the social media ban that's coming up for young people, I'd expect content to just fall off a cliff edge, really. I think that's why we're seeing a lot more AI generated content out there because the social platforms have no other option but to kind of like regurgitate some of this content alongside organic content as well, and also fill some of that space with ads. 46% of Gen Z and 35% of millennials prefer social media over traditional search engines. So if you think about your daily habits like Google or using ChatGPT to search, Gen Z are more likely to go to places like TikTok to Instagram to find out where they want to go for a meal out. I had a manager that I used to work with. And she told me that if she goes to a new town, she's looking up spots for like nightclubs, bars, restaurants, places to just hang out. She's looking at these on TikTok because she wants to see what the atmosphere is like. She wants to see what the reviews are all in one place. And it's a very visual sort of format to do it. Short form video is now the default really on most platforms. Front and center, you're getting fed video. LinkedIn changed their video player to be a bit more like TikTok and Instagram. I think they've like made a little step back on that now. But Instagram, especially Facebook, a lot of the feed is video first. Consistency matters. If you are posting, then we just need to make sure that we're posting regularly. It doesn't mean that you have to post every day or every week or, even every month. It's just that once you build up a habit that you're comfortable with, just make sure you're maintaining that because people do notice your posts and they do start to rely on those posts coming through. They're like, oh, Beck's not posted in a week. It's about time that she's going to come up. I know she posts like once a week about something, so let's like go back and like see what she's doing. And now authenticity beats polish. So not every piece of content that you need to put out there has to be really nicely edited. It has to be super crisp and clean. Sometimes having it on your smartphone all in one take, ums and ahs, errors included. They make you come across as really human, and that's what people want to interact with. Everyone's sick of being fed ads now. Everyone's just sick of watching like just shiny content designed to make them buy something. So if you can come across as nice, friendly, and human, which I'm really confident most people on this call are, then you're going to do really well with social video. Platforms are rewarding watch time. So generally, how much of your video content is being watched, measured in like minutes and hours. They'll calculate it across the entire platform, but you can see watch time for specific videos as well. Retention. So how many people that started the video got all the way to the end? The average for short form used to be about 80%. It's probably a lot lower now. But that's a really solid gold metric because you can see what the general interest in your video is. If you've got a retention rate of 10%, people are dropping out for the first 10% of the video. Perhaps there's a problem. Maybe the hook's really strong, but the actual content itself might be lacking somewhere. Maybe we've used a like a clickbaity title. It's drawn people in, but then the content's not really backed up what that title was promising, so they've just moved away. And then finally, engagement. So, how many likes, comments, shares do our posts get? Video can be quite good for this because as videos being pushed through the feed, people are more likely to give it a quick like or to like leave a comment than they are to traditional posts. It doesn't mean that like that just by doing videos you're going to get tons of engagement, but it does, especially if you create the content in a way that's like asking questions, asking people to participate. You can start to build some really solid engagement on that. So, looking more now towards content itself, I'm going to invite everybody, welcome you all to the Inspo Depot. So, this is just some ideas of how to get started with like coming up with like content ideas when I speak to people at networking events about content that they're creating or not creating. The two main things that come up are I don't really have enough time to like invest a lot of time into making videos, and also I find it really overwhelming the amount of videos that are already out there and things that I like. I don't know where to get started. So this is what we're going to try and address today. So first of all, is follow your niche. So that could be professionally, if your personal brand is being developed all around what you are doing on a day-to-day as part of your career. Fantastic. If you've got a nice hobby, like, you really enjoy baking, sewing, BMX riding, skateboarding, you want to dive into that, perfect. But just find out what it is about you that you find really interesting or that you're passionate about and start building content around that. It doesn't mean that every single post you create has to be around it, but by having that like pillar, you'll find it might be a little bit easier just to come out with ideas that you can really execute into video. Follow your gut, and when in doubt, test it out. So if you think for whatever reason people are going to be really interested in what book you've just read because you loved it, and you think, oh, actually a lot of my mates really love this book, they've recommended it, maybe if you put a quick book review online, follow that. There's going to be some subconscious decision making that is really backing you up there. So don't be afraid to create video content because you think it's a good idea. It just, but when you think about it, it's like, I don't know, it just feels good. Just follow that. And then we'll have a little look at testing in just a second. And then this is a really good way. This is for the people that don't have time to create video. Creating video can be time consuming. Coming up with the idea, filming it in a way that you're happy with the way that you're presenting yourself, and then editing it and getting it online can be a bit of a pain. So what happens if you just write like a 50-word post about it? What happens if you use some images? What happens if you just press record on your smartphone and stop record and just post that? What you can do is by using these sort of like low effort posts, you can then start following them, seeing how people are engaging with them, see how many views they get, how many likes they get, and be like, oh, this one that I did 6 weeks ago seemed to do really well. What happens if I do a video around it? And then each time you do a video on that subject, you can go a little bit deeper into it, and then you create these like little wells of content that you can produce. Use polls and surveys to canvass your target audience. Pretty much every social media platform now allows you to create a poll in one way or another. So ask people what they want to hear about. You can be really blunt and say, "These are my interests. Is anybody else interested? What are you going for?" If you're going to a conference, which might be a lot of people can't make it to. It might be during daytime in London. It could be like overseas. Be like, right, I'm going to this conference. This is what's happening. What do people want to hear about from it? Just use this to start building up ideas about what people might be interested in. They can be very broad. They can be very specific. Look at other channels and identify themes. So look at people that you're interested in. Look at companies that you really like the content of. Look at people in your industry, people that are in those hobbies that you enjoy. What are they doing? What themes seem to be going down quite nicely? Look at how many comments they're getting, what are their videos about that are getting that engagement. Use tools like Google Keyword Planner. This is really quite advanced for personal brand, but if you've got access to Google, you can sign up for free with a Gmail account. It can be a bit tricky. It wants to like really sell you an ad campaign, but you just like no. And then using Google Keyword Planner, you can just put in phrases that interest you. So a good one for me could be like a video for personal branding. You put it in there and it'll bring you related keywords and then how much traffic they're getting. And you can be like, oh, a lot of people aren't really talking about how to present for personal brands. So maybe I can do some videos about that. It looks like it's getting good search content, search traffic, but there's not many pages and there's not a lot of competition. So let's go for that. Use topic clustering and deep dive into topics of interest. So the idea of topic clustering is basically you come up with a theme, so BMX riding, and then you go to Google and you say, right, what's popular about BMX riding? And then that could be like, right, types of people, bikes people like, accessories, fashion, events, tricks. And then, right, we've got six content clusters there. So if I go into tricks, what's new in the last year? What are the old school tricks everyone seems to like? What new tricks have I learned? Then in each of those, we can start to now think about what topics might be around them. So what we're doing now is creating little pockets of content, and we're basically building this like repository of content ideas that we can keep going back to. So, the four types of video that everybody should create. Now, again, disclaimer, these are just ideas to get you started. If you create none of these types of videos, that's absolutely fine. If you create them all, brilliant. This isn't a blueprint to fast track to success. These are just some ideas to get you going. So, first of all, is knowledge exchange, especially if you're working or you're building your personal brand around the industry that you're operating in. So what we're looking to do here is we're building trust by showing people that we're an expert in our field or that we're really researching quite a lot what topics are kind of new, what's changing, what's coming out. And we're really like signaling to people it's worth listening to me if you want to keep ahead on this particular subject. It's relatable to your audience because hopefully you're building the audience that operate within the industry that you're talking about, and it positions you as the expert in there. So again, if you can post once a week, once a month, great. But we're really putting ourselves front and center as like this is how I can lead you through the pitfalls and problems in this industry. Behind the scenes, day in the life, people love to learn about people and what they're up to. We've all got this like voyeuristic streak in us where we just like to watch what people are doing and like in many ways find it comforting. That's why reality TV is so popular. And it's also probably why the people that are posting and active on social media are starting to dwindle a little bit. We're getting very comfortable in just following other people's lives. So what we're looking to do here is we're developing relationships, which just means we're by showing people our day-to-day life, people get to know us a little bit better. You are in complete control over what you share. You don't have to tell people where you live. You don't have to tell people what you do with your family if you don't want to. You don't have to tell people where you're going on holiday. You can absolutely can if you want to, but if you just want to say, "Hey, I'm at my office. I had a coffee today, then I did some work about XYZ, had a couple of meetings, and then I went home." That's absolutely fine. It's also proven that we're a genuine person. It's like I'm not just an AI bot that's out there to try and like gain likes and stuff. And it's showing that when we're looking back at that knowledge exchange content, we're really like living this life as like a knowledgeable person in the industry. And we're starting to build a sense of community as well. by showing people like where you show up, what you do, what you're interested in. People over time will then start commenting. It's like, oh yeah, I do that. I like that coffee spot as well. I find this is really interesting. If you're searching this, have you thought about looking at that as well? How to and process breakdowns. So this could be anything. This could be how do I write a formal letter to a client? How do I object to a document, an official document that I don't like? Again, we're putting ourselves in the middle as the expert. We're promoting search discovery because people might be looking about how to do these things anyway, and we're driving engagement. This is my approach to how I do this particular process. How do you do it? Let me know in the comments. Um, and yeah, so it's just a good way of taking things that we might do quite often and just taking away a bit of the air of mystery around it. There's this idea in sales as well, where if you like give away a little bit of knowledge, then people sort of like give more back to you as well. So you're just starting to give out these free resources. People know to come to you when they need help. And then about me videos. So reinforcing the personal aspect of the personal brand. It's a very low barrier to entry. It's like, hi, this is me. This is what I do. I'm Leki. I create videos professionally. I do it because companies that hire me want to grow. This is how I'll go about doing it. When you create videos, you can generally share them once every 4 months before the social algorithms start to say, hey, you're spamming these videos. So once you've created a little suite of videos, like, this is who I am, this is my popular day in the life, this is how I create very specific products, then we can start to get those on like a regular recycling schedule. And every now and again, it just reinforces with people what's going on. So social media building blocks now. You may or may not have noticed that every strong social video post has a bit of a blueprint to it. Again, this is just like a framework to help you build out what social videos could look like. You do not need to follow it word for word. I think if you did follow it, then you'd get really good results. So step one is the hook. What's going to grab your viewers' attention? The general thinking is you've got the first 3 seconds are the most important. How are you going to pull people in? So this could be a really interesting statistic. 49% of people on social media don't post or comment. This is how I'm going to tell you more about it. It could be like a really cool transition. Transitions sort of like fading a little bit in my social feeds, but you still see them. So when people like use a meme and then follow it up themselves, or like I think a really good example was when there was the videos going around of like someone opening a water bottle and then the person would kick it out of their hand and people were just replacing themselves. So it's like you've got this like clip that everyone recognizes and then your spin on it. Step two, introduce the subject. So why should the viewers keep watching? So 49% of people don't post enough on social media. So now we'd say, so this is the best opportunity to start posting video on social media. I'm Leki and I'm going to show you how to create the perfect social video. Provide your value. So this is where you're actually putting the bulk of your content. So now I'm going to give you the 5 steps and 6 steps and how to produce the best social video that you can produce. Most of your time will go into this segment in one form or another. So if it's very short, that's okay. But generally, you're going to see most of the content in that stage. Step four is a call to action. Should your audience do next? For a personal brand, you might not have this in most instances, but if you've just launched a newsletter, if you're hosting a webinar, if you've got a professional event coming up, this is where you'd put it. So it's like, if you've enjoyed this, sign up to my newsletter. There's a link in bio. If you're going to be at X conference, I'd love to see you there. Reach out to me and like organize a coffee. You can really have like a fun, be creative. And if you feel you don't need it, don't need to include it. And finally, step five, analysis. So we need to be kind to ourselves here. When we first start posting video to social media, we want to be like, check in on the analytics, like after an hour, after a day. And we sort of like get drawn in of like, how quickly did this video pop off? Try and resist that if you can. Give it at least 7 days. Let the social algorithms do the thing. Let people engage with it. Obviously, if you're receiving comments and you want to respond to them, do it. That'll help your engagement. But we're not interested in watch time. analysis, retention until people have had a good opportunity to look at it, especially in the early days. Because what you'll find is that you might start off with like a very low audience. You might start off with you've already got quite a lot of followers and they're suddenly getting rapidly engaged with them. Everybody's different. So just give yourself a bit of time. And what it will do as well, it'll give us a better idea then about how one video may have performed against another. So if you've done an About Me video 6 months ago, and now you've done a new one, after a week, you'll have a better idea of being able to compare them and say, right, okay, people might be preferring this new one for X, Y, Z. And you get a bit more informed analysis off the back of it. So, how to stay sane and keep recording. So, it can be a bit much creating video content on the regular. So, like we said, check your stats weekly at the most. We don't want to be overdoing that. Engagement drops as you sell yourself more. So, this is really important to keep in mind as having a personal brand. If you are just sharing videos about the last holiday that you had and like, oh, this is what the hotel looks like and these are the activities that we could do, you'll find that those videos, you tend to get a lot more engagement than this is the hardcore case that I worked on recently and the very sort of nichey technical work that I did on it. The doesn't mean that the holiday video is more important than the technical video, but what it will mean is that more people are just generally going to be interested in what you did for your holiday. It's very a very cuddly sort of topic of interest. But with the technical, the people that will be watching that and engaging with that will be closer to what you call like your target audience. They're like probably operating in your industry. They could be people that might be either interested in employing you in the future, interested in maybe working with your company. So just look at what each video offers on its own merit and then give yourself a little bit of just wiggle room when you're looking at the analysis. If you think, just think, how nichey are we looking with this video? And then if the engagement is low, that's okay. If it's a very common interest video and it's low engagement, then maybe, yeah, okay, maybe a lot of my audience don't really care what the latest local cricket scores are. Maybe I'll move away from that. If you do persist with the local cricket scores, though, you may find that the local cricket audience grows. Like we don't build a community around us in one video. So just bear that in mind. If you want to create a video around a particular piece of content, you've really got to struggle through those early days of having low engagement whilst you find your audience. Don't listen to the haters. If people are commenting on your video and they're generally just being not very nice, turn off comments. It's absolutely no problem. You're not going to get, told off by the social platforms for that. Do whatever you can to protect yourself. Just ignore them, delete them if you can do, and only respond to the comments that, are generally like positive or that you feel comfortable responding to. There's a difference between responding to a troll and having genuine discourse. If you think this is a fair argument, I'm happy to continue commenting, go for it, have that little chat. But just give yourself enough room just to think, do I want to engage? Am I doing this on my own terms? And basically just bringing that to every aspect of your personal brand when you're creating your content, and you generally have a much nicer time. Recycle content as much as possible. Like I said, about once a quarter, every 4 months, you can recycle those About Me videos, those how-to videos that seem to be doing well. Create a reaction video. This does really well. If you've already got a little content bank of videos and you notice some have done well, some influencers will react to it. And you can pause it and be like, I can't believe I thought this in the last year. Or what's interesting is this is looking to change. So I'll be interested to see how this evolves. Or like, oh, well, you thought this cake was banging. Look at this recent one that I've done. And the same for the BMX tricks. Every interaction is an opportunity to converse for content. So when you're out networking, when you're speaking to friends at parties, when you're just hanging about online, if someone's like brings up, oh, like I really like what you're doing on social media, I really like new videos you're creating, I really like what you're posting about, just be like, oh, brilliant. Like, what is it that you also are interested in. You're like, what do you normally look at alongside it? Was that new? Was that just like a bit of a surprise, or do you go out of your way to look for this sort of content? Is there anything specifically that you're interested in? Um, and then it's you just sort of building up an idea about what your target audience are after, and then where can you save your audience time and effort? So again, great for the how-to videos, great for the process breakdowns. What is it about the audience that are interested? That what are they interested in these topics? What are they interested about me? What information can I give them that makes life a bit easier for them? That's why a lot of like the sort of like fintech influencers are doing quite well, especially around after oil prices went crazy a couple of months ago. They were just basically just posted about what it is in the financial markets that seem to be doing well or not, and people generally who are interested in that are like, okay, yeah, we can follow this advice and we can follow this information, and it gives us a bit of an idea about what to Google next or what to look into next. So wherever you can do that, that's always going to be a good thing. So thanks very much for taking the time to listen to me today. I hope you've learned a lot about your personal brand. I'm actually holding a webinar on the 18th of August from Station Socials, how live moments supercharge engagement. And basically, this is all about how if you run events or you work in a company that run regular events, how can you use video to create a longer follow-up time and really get the most out of the time and effort that you've put into the events. If that sounds good, scan the QR code and I'd love to see you there. We've got my Earl there and my email and my LinkedIn. Please follow me if you've got any questions. Reach out, send me a DM. Thanks,
That
Beck.
was awesome. Thank you so much, Lucky. That was brilliant. Thank you, everybody, for joining us, and hopefully, we'll see you on the next one.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.